The deep ocean remains one of Earth's last great frontiers, filled with mysteries and extraordinary life. Throughout this series, we've seen how it shelters countless ecosystems brimming with biodiversity, hidden beneath layers of darkness. Yet, there is one place in this vast realm that remains even more enigmatic. Concealed beneath the Arctic and Antarctic sea ice lies a hidden kingdom of giants. These creatures have evolved extraordinary adaptations, allowing them to survive in icy, sunless waters, building entire communities we are only just beginning to discover. Life at the poles is harsh and unforgiving. Endless winters bring piercing winds and temperatures plunge far below freezing as months of darkness settle in. The sea ice stretches far from the coasts, a recurring but crucial feature of these ecosystems. It regulates temperatures in the polar seas and plays a vital role in balancing Earth's climate. Its reflective surface bounces sunlight back into space. Without this shimmering shield, the dark ocean would absorb the heat, disrupting ecosystems across the planet. Sea ice is vital not only for the polar climate, but also for the many animals that live on and around it. What may appear as empty, frozen wilderness actually shelters a surprising variety of life, both above and below the ice. In the Arctic, ice serves as the essential hunting ground for polar bears. These solitary predators depend entirely on it, patiently waiting near breathing holes where seals surface for air. In Antarctica, the ice platform provides equally critical ground for penguins and seals, offering the solid base they need to breed and raise their young. But the sea ice itself is also alive with smaller forms of life, microorganisms and tiny invertebrates that form the very foundation of polar food webs. The underside of the ice is far from smooth. Channels and cavities carve into it, created when salty brine drains away from between the frozen crystals. These sheltered spaces provide perfect habitats for microorganisms. Here, photosynthetic algae and bacteria wait for spring, ready to bloom into a massive banquet for ocean life. Some channels are even large enough to shelter amphipods, krill, and tiny worms, clinging to the icy surface like it were an upside-down seabed. In the Southern Ocean, krill feed on phytoplankton and scrape algae from the underside of the ice. With so much food available, krill have become a keystone species, supporting the entire Southern Ocean food chain. In the Arctic Ocean, life continues even without sunlight. From predatory sea stars to drifting ctenophores, survival here is a constant struggle. Because thick ice blocks out the sun, there is no marine snow falling beneath it. Most creatures here must hunt, even the seemingly delicate sea angel, which feeds only on its close relative, the sea butterfly. Around Antarctica, hidden ocean cavities also play a role in circulating water, nutrients, and life. The Ross Ice Shelf, the largest floating sheet of ice on Earth, covers 480,000 square kilometers and conceals a vast cavity stretching 700 kilometers beneath the continent's coast. This hidden world remains mostly unexplored. But in recent years, expeditions to the Antarctic deep have sought to uncover what forms of life might survive in these seemingly barren depths. For a long time, many believed these depths were nothing more than a biological wasteland. The deep seas around Antarctica form a world unlike anywhere else. The massive weight of the ice sheets has pressed the continental shelf down far deeper than usual. Normally, continental shelves lie between 100 and 200 meters below the surface. Here, however, you must descend to nearly 600 meters before reaching the edge, where a vast abyss suddenly opens. This gateway leads not only scientists, but also marine life into the deep. Because the surface waters are nearly as cold as the depths, deep-sea creatures can rise into much shallower waters than in most oceans. As a result, entire communities of life that are usually beyond the reach of submersibles elsewhere can be found here, thriving in oxygen-rich waters. This oxygen comes from the freezing of seawater in winter. When ice forms, it leaves behind extremely salty, dense water that sinks and carries oxygen into the global deep sea, preventing suffocation. Nowhere is this more concentrated than in Antarctica, making it the most oxygen-rich water on Earth, hidden under a frozen wilderness. Creatures here take full advantage. Sea spiders grow to enormous sizes, with legs spanning up to 40 centimeters, far larger than their tiny relatives elsewhere that lack the oxygen to grow. This phenomenon, known as polar gigantism, affects many Antarctic species. Giant sponges 2 meters tall cling to drop stones, massive rocks carried by icebergs, creating oases for filter feeders like corals and feather stars. These slow-growing, plant-like animals reach great sizes in the stable environment, feeding on the abundant marine snow that settles on the seafloor. Unlike most oceans, fish are scarce here. The freezing waters make survival difficult, leaving the ecosystem dominated by giant invertebrates such as the Antarctic sunstar, which snares krill with tiny pincers. The few fish that do exist must adapt in remarkable ways. One species, the ice dragonfish, produces antifreeze proteins in its blood to stop it from turning solid. This community has been isolated for millions of years. The Antarctic circumpolar current acts as a barrier, preventing marine species from crossing in or out, leading to the evolution of unique creatures found nowhere else. Thus, the Antarctic deep sea is a cradle of hidden wonders, filled with organisms that exist nowhere else on Earth. But this fragile balance is under threat from human-driven climate change. Warming waters may allow invasive species to move into these isolated ecosystems, disrupting a balance that has endured for millennia. If this happens, we risk losing one of the ocean's best-kept secrets before we truly understand its importance. You can follow the channel to discover more content like this, and your support is greatly appreciated.